Sanbanan, welcome to my page. And if you're following me from YouTube, welcome to my channel. The past few weeks, I've talked about psychological safety and how it affects individuals and as well as companies. We saw how about three case studies that I had where because of the fear of speaking up, those companies ended up with accidents that costed millions and actually human lives, certainly human lives. So this week, I just want to speak about how psychological safety can benefit organizations. So the first thing is that, as we saw from the experiment that Google did for 2 years, starting about 186 teams, psychological safety was the one predictor of high performance. So having a company that has a very safe environment for employees to bring their full selves to work, it results in teams being able to be, open to one another, share, being not afraid to raise questions, to challenge the status quo, and also just to be able just basically to voice their opinion. And when they're able to do that in different teams, that really creates a stronger collaboration for them to then perform higher. By the way, psychological safety, we said it was a concept that was coined by Professor Amy Edmondson from Harvard. And basically it's that a concept that speaks to employees being able to bring their full selves to work and not being afraid to speak or voice their opinion, just knowing that if I ask a question, if I voice an opinion, then I'm not going to be punished for it. So basically, that's what the concept means. So the second benefit is that it can result in greater innovation and continuous improvement. Most of the times, a lot of organizations, we always see innovation being one of the top values because we know that in order to survive, in today's business landscape, you need to be innovative, right? Otherwise, competitors will overtake you, and you might, lose business, lose your market share, whatever you want to put it. So we have such aspirations as organization on paper. We want to be innovative, but what will it take for your teams to be able to innovative? They need an environment where it's safe, because if you're going to innovate, you're definitely going to try different things, and sometimes, most of the time, they're going to make a mistake. So your employees need to know that it's safe for me to make a mistake. I'm not going to be blamed for it. I'm not going to be embarrassed. I'm not going to be punished, and then have a disciplinary hearing just because I made a mistake. So oftentimes we have as an aspiration, a strategic aspiration to want to be innovative, but hardly do we think about the environment that our employees are in. Like, are they able to drive innovation and then continuously improve our processes and the way of doing things? So basically, if you are creating a psychological safe environment, that's one of the benefits then that you will realize. It will stop being just a strategic aspiration, but it'll actually result in people actually being innovative. Your teams and your employees actually being innovative. Then the third benefit is learning, so continuous learning. We know most companies, again, they will say we are a learning organization, but learning means that we need to reflect on mistakes, we need to be open, we need to share knowledge, we need to be candid about a lot of things. Like, if it's not going right, we need to be able to raise risks, raise issues, raise ethical things that can be potential ethical errors, and raise them early. And so if the environment doesn't allow the teams to be able to do that effectively, then they will stop learning. If a whole learning session results in somebody being blamed or somebody being mocked or just made an example of what not to do, then we're not able to create an environment where learning will thrive. And we know that without us reflecting on what worked well, what didn't go well, then we're not able to improve our processes or even, our products. Then the fourth benefit is a higher retention and a higher engagement. Employees will stay longer in organizations if they feel like their voice is heard, if they're able to contribute, they can see clearly how the contribution that they made, how it actually links to strategic objectives, so that results in higher engagement. We usually say that engagement and higher engagement will be when your personal values are aligned to the organizational values, and actually in a safe environment where you feel like you can fully express and bring your full self to work. You then find that you are able to thrive and be productive, not just being present, and therefore you're going to stay in that organization longer. Yes, sometimes we even talk about employees that don't leave organizations, employees leave managers. The such statements come from the fact that one person, I mean, individuals feel safe. First, they feel safe and they experience the organization through their teams and their managers. And so if that space is not safe and they don't feel like they can bring their full selves and contribute, then they're not able to stay. And then more often than not, they'll leave organizations, and therefore you have a high turnover, and you lose your best talent, which will work against your strategic goals as an organization. And then the fifth benefit of making sure that the environment is safe is a stronger risk management. We saw how, like from the three examples that I had last week, I mean, really, the engineers knew that there was something wrong with the process or something, but they were just afraid to speak up to their leaders. It's an environment where, I mean, and which is just typical, of hierarchical environment sometimes, which is what we want to improve by raising an awareness on psychological safety. That even though it's a hierarchical organization, you really are going to lose a lot as an organization if that hierarchy then stops people from being from raising issues early. It stops people from being creative and stops people from contributing. What you end up finding is that people are operating in fear, and they think, I might as well keep quiet. My boss knows the best. And I mean, really, that works against you as a leader as well, because if you are leading a team, or really if you have, I mean, if you've got different deliverables, you just want to get input from different people, because their perspective, I mean, they'll be much more, sometimes they're much more closer to the problem. They deal, for instance, like if it's a customer service issue, they'll be the ones that are customer facing, dealing with customers every day, and therefore they will know the pain points or things that work. And then if you're a leader, you're not giving them an opportunity to say something, then you leave from such, I mean, you lose from such input. So really, if we engage our teams and make sure that you create an environment where they feel safe to raise issues, then you are going to benefit a lot as an organization, to identify issues, potential ethical issues as well, things that could later, cause, I mean, in what we saw in those business cases, catastrophic accidents where even lives were lost just because people were scared to speak up. So I really hope this series have been beneficial to most people. I mean, I've talked about it from an individual, like if you are the one that is working in an environment that's not psychologically safe, then I spoke about how that affects you as an individual, how it affects your mental health. You end up having health problems, really. I mean, we've talked about it, and as well as an organization, the strategic and the financial losses. And now I've been, put a positive twist to it and then speak about the benefits, with the hope that, somebody who's going to be look at this and evaluate and say, hey, I've learned something, and I want to make sure that my team works in an environment that is safe. I mean, it's not just the leadership's responsibility, but all of us as a team to adhere to team values, organizational values, and also just co-create that environment where we all thrive. I always say that we spend most of our adulthood at work. I mean, 8 hours of your day. So, and years and years and years. So you might as well make that environment work. You might as well enjoy and really wake up looking forward to going to work. So I really hope this has been helpful. Please comment if you work in a psychological safe environment, or if you've experienced such in an environment, what was your experience? What did you love about it? And yeah, also give me ideas of what else would you like to hear about. This is the page where I give you tips, career tips, and all things professional, all things careers. So because, in order for you to give your best, you have to work in an environment that nurtures you and makes sure that you and allows you to bring your best self to work. Thank you very much. See you next week.